Hey, what's up guys? In this video I wanted to talk to you a little bit about OpenSSH, and the reason for that is because the iOS 7.1 update is going to be released pretty soon, and what that means is that a lot of iOS users who need to restore their device, their jailbroken device for some reason, won't be able to go back to a jailbreakable OS because iOS 7.1, as seen in beta 4, I think, shows that the exploits used by the evasion jailbreak have been patched. Fortunately, there are tools like iLEX that are being developed to support iOS 7, and what tools like those allow you to do is to restore your device back to a jailbreakable iOS, for example iOS 7.0.4, and keep your device jailbroken. So if, say for example, you download a bad package that, say, puts your iOS device into a boot loop, normally you'd have to perform a full restore and lose your jailbreak in the process to be able to get your device back. However, with tools like iLEX being developed, it will be entirely possible to maintain a jailbreak while still being able to restore your device. Now this is where technologies like SSH come into play, because with a package like OpenSSH, it is possible to be able to access the file system of your iOS device while it's in this boot loop. So in this video, I want to show you how to set up OpenSSH on your iOS device. Alright guys, so what we need to do is have OpenSSH on your iOS device, because that's where we're going to get our packages. What you need to do now is go and get two packages. They are OpenSSH and Mobile Terminal for iOS 7. What we need to do is head on over to our sources, because we need to add a custom repo. So what I'm going to do is tap add here, and I'm going to paste in the URL for the repo. Just give me one moment. There we go. So that is the repo to add. I don't know if you can read that or not, seeing as I'm currently shooting the video, but if you can't, I'll have a link in the description for you to help with that. So I'm just going to tap on add source and wait for it to do its thing. Now that I've added the repo, we're going to go ahead and get our packages. So we've got OpenSSH, going to tap install and then tap continue queuing. And now I'm going to go on over to our sources, and I've already got the custom repo open. So I'm going to tap Mobile Terminal iOS 7, hit install, and then choose confirm. So now Cydia is going to go ahead and install those two packages for us. Alright, so the two packages, Mobile Terminal and OpenSSH, have now been installed. What we're going to do is tap return to Cydia, and what I'm going to do now is actually go ahead and restart my device, because these are both console packages, so I don't know if it's really necessary or not, but I'm going to play it safe and go ahead and turn off my device, and once it's off I'm going to go and turn it back on. Alright guys, so my iPad has just restarted. I just did slide to unlock, and now I'm at the home screen. Now what we want to do is go into the settings app, because we need to get the internal IP address. The way we do that is just to tap on Wi-Fi and make sure you're obviously on a Wi-Fi network, and then tap on the I button to get to this info page here. Now what you want to note on your iOS device is the IP address, which should be the first set of numbers that you can see there. So go ahead and write that down somewhere or remember it, because what we need to do now is go over to a computer and try to SSH into our device. Alright, so here I am at my Mac, and I've got an SSH client open. What I'm using is CyberDuck, which is available for OS X and I believe Windows as well. I've used it in the past and it works pretty well, but all of this is possible through a command line or a terminal as well, or on another program, say PuTTY for Windows. But I'm just using CyberDuck because, well, it's my choice. So what we want to do is try to SSH into the iOS device we just installed OpenSSH on. So what you want to do is start a new connection, choose SFTP, and in the server field you want to type in the IP address that you got before. So that's mine in this case. Keep the default port, and what you want to do is enter the username as root and the password as Alpine, and that's just how iOS devices start off with. They always have Alpine as the default SSH password. So what we're just going to do is hit connect and wait while it communicates with our iOS device. And the first time this happens, it does take a little bit longer than usual, but for every subsequent SSH connection after that, it'll connect a lot quicker. And you can see that we have now successfully SSH'd into the iPad mini. So I am able to browse the directory of the iPad mini since we have now successfully SSH'd into the device. But what we want to do now is to change the root password, because if you go around with this and you go and connect to Wi-Fi networks and you don't bother to change the password from Alpine, it is possible for anyone to be able to SSH into your iOS device and possibly do some very nasty things. So now we're going to use Mobile Terminal to change the root password. Alright guys, so I am now back at the iPad mini, and what we're going to do is use Mobile Terminal to change the root password. Now it's going to be a little bit awkward since Mobile Terminal hasn't actually been updated to support rotation, so it's going to open up in portrait mode, but if you just listen to what I'm saying, that really should not be an issue. So here we are at the main screen for Mobile Terminal. What we want to do first is access superuser, so we're going to do that by typing su space root, and that's ROOT, just like before when we were at the Mac. So we hit the return key, and it's going to ask us for the password for root, and that's simply going to be, again, Alpine, because we have not changed it yet. Then you hit the return key again, and now we're in superuser. Now what we want to do is type in PSSWD. Hit the return key, and it's going to ask us for our new password. And while you're typing in the password, it won't actually display any of the characters on screen for security purposes. So once you've entered in your password, hit return, and it's going to ask you to retype the password just to check that you entered it in correctly. So once you've entered your password in a second time, go ahead and hit return, and that should be it. You should be back. So that's how we take care of the root one, and just to be sure, we're going to run the password command again, except we're going to do it for not the root account, but for the mobile account. So hit the return key once you've typed that in, and after you hit the return key, it's going to ask you again for the new passcode, and then you hit the return key, and again it's going to ask you to retype the password. And then once you've retyped it, hit the return key, and it should be alright. So it won't really display anything in terms of a confirmation message. Once you know you see that line there both times, you'll know it will be done. So what's going to happen now is if you try to SSH into your iOS device using CyberDuck or something else, you'll still enter in the username as root, but the password is no longer going to be the default Alpine. It's going to be whatever you set it to. So the reason why having something like SSH is going to be very useful when you need to do something like get your iOS device out of a boot loop while being able to return back to a jailbreakable iOS. So that's it for this video, just a really quick overview and demonstration of how to set up and use OpenSSH and Mobile Terminal. So I hope this is going to help anyone that may encounter future issues, or for some reason, well, if you're already encountering issues with boot loops right now, you're not exactly going to be able to install packages. So, you know, better safe than sorry. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.